sorry we ran a little late today. I was involved with a couple of phone calls. I needed to deal with a couple of things, but I'm excited today. I have one of my good friends in the dental industry. We are traveling buddies. We travel around the U.S. to spend time at trade shows together, entertaining the dentists who attend these dental trade shows. Unfortunately, we're grounded right now, but I have Jimmy Marciano from Lighthouse 360, who is now affiliated with Henry Schein. Jimmy is in beautiful Austin, Texas. How are things going down there, Jimmy?
Oh, they're going great. Today it's a whopping 68 degrees, so can't complain.
So tell me, what have you been doing for the past, I guess, month or so? We're used to the travel lifestyle, as we call road warriors. We normally every week are somewhere around the country, and both you and I have kind of been quarantined in the house. So so what have you been up to down there?
Well, the silver lining here, and yeah, no, road warriors, I couldn't have put it any better. The silver lining is I've been getting a lot done around the house that I've been putting off. So
I think we all have.
Yeah, no, I can imagine that's been great. But just trying to stay sane, doing some indoor workouts to keep the energy and blood flow going, and hanging out with my brother, because he's been doing the same thing, and hopping on a lot of video chats and doing a lot of remote work. So it's been a bit of a pivot, but it's been good.
Have you seen your girlfriend at all?
Yes, I have. And she's also been doing a lot remotely as well. She actually works for a mattress firm. So they've been taking a bit of a hit from the retail side, but their online sales have been climbing. So they're definitely pivoting. So I think that's a testament to a lot of the industries out there, not just dentistry.
So I have to be honest with you. You are so popular that my wife actually just joined and is saying hello to you. That's not, my wife never joins these lives, and she joined to say hello to you. So you're a popular guy. So just so you know that. so people are popping on and saying hi. So that means a lot that she hopped on. So just so you know. Jimmy works for Lighthouse. They were acquired last year by Henry Schein. And what has that transition been like for those that don't know that they were bought by Henry Schein? Obviously, that took place last year, like I said. What has that transition been like for you?
So personally, the transition's been great. This is actually the third acquisition that I've personally been through in 5.5 years. And the previous two were both marketing firms, which were fine. But now we're owned by a dental company, and a dental company that wants to pump resources into our platform. So not only has Lighthouse been a great product for the 18 years it's been in existence, but we've started to see things really kick up in the R&D side. So we're very excited. I'm personally excited, and I've wanted to work for a dental company for as long as I can remember, as long as I started working for Lighthouse. So the future is very bright.
Well, that's great. That's great. And like I said, look at all these people, and I can't tell who they are, but they're all saying hello. Hi, Jimmy. Everybody's saying hello. You're a popular guy, Jimmy. Just like you are at trade shows, you're a popular guy. That's great. So I want to kind of give a little bio about who you are. So Jimmy is a senior account executive for Lighthouse and a frequent speaker on the importance of patient communication at industry events such as the HIMMN and CDA. He attends 35 plus dental conferences throughout the year and has been at Lighthouse for 6 years. Prior to this, he graduated from the W.P. Carey School of Business with a BS in Finance from Arizona State University. He currently resides in the Austin area. Over the past 6 years, he has onboarded 1,500 plus dental practices. He is the partner manager for numerous strategic partnerships such as the Dental Purchasing Group and Dental Health Products Incorporated, to name a few. He's also leading the charge for Lighthouse's sales initiative in Canada with Henry Schein. So obviously you have a lot of experience in dental industry, which is why I wanted to have you on today. And I know we're going to talk about the importance of patient engagement and how to effectively and efficiently navigate the COVID-19 crisis. So what advice have you been giving to dentists? And we'll talk, I mean, you're obviously doing some demos for Lighthouse during the process, but you obviously have been, I guess, reaching out or at least communicating with Lighthouse clients. So what has been some of the tips or tricks or advice you've been giving to dentists and in terms of communicating to their clients? And one thing I will bring up is I'm sure you've been telling them to discontinue sending reminders to them while they're closed.
Yeah, so we can touch on that first. We have a couple thousand of our 14,000 users roughly that still have them on, but we are strongly advising that they turn them off to avoid confusion, because obviously these clinics are closed besides emergency cases. So a few of the tips and tricks that I've personally been recommending and our company's been recommending is one, having the ability to remotely access this platform. So being at home, being in a safe place that's outside of the office, these patients are also there as well. And so just having the ease and user ability to send them an e-blast or a two-way text is crucial. But as we've realized, this current situation with the COVID-19 crisis that's currently going on across the US and in the world is that things are changing by the day. And so having a way to pivot and send out a blast very simply is crucial, because we don't know when we're all going back to work. Different parts of the country might be going back at different times. And so having the platform to connect to those patients easily and reach them easily is crucial for their business. So remote access is the biggest thing.
Do they, and I was reading something online because I'm in hundreds of tens of forums here. So I keep seeing people's comments about various products out there. Do people have to call you to turn off the messaging, or can they turn off the messaging on their own?
So we recommend that they do call the support line. Technically they can do it on their own. However, not that I'm saying a lot of these people can't do it, but it might be better if they just give us a buzz, since we're very used to doing that for our customers.
Okay, but it can be done on their own on the back end.
It can.
Okay, because people were saying they must call in. I'm like, I didn't realize that. So back to I know I kind of threw you off guard there, and I said, why don't we talk about turning off the communications?
Yeah.
So what other tips and advice are you giving to existing clients and recommendations in terms of communicating them during the various steps of the process or the crisis, in terms of letting the patients know what we're doing or what the status is in terms of the protective gear they're wearing, in terms of the opening for emergencies, the closure, what's going on with cases in the office? What is the overall tips that you're giving?
So first and foremost, we tell our clients that we're able to add special messages to these reminders that we're sending out. And so we like to add excerpts and instructions for these clients so that they understand what's going on in the practice. And so we can do that in any color that they want in the practice, but whether it's around the safety, so are they wearing masks, gloves, so on and so forth, some of the procedures and precautions that these patients should be taking, we can auto add those to any of our reminders that we send out. Now, we're also recommending that they do this work, like I mentioned before, remotely. And so having mobile access to pull it up on their phone and see their online appointment book and schedule with notes is crucial, especially if they can't get into their server that they have. And then thirdly, we're seeing not only these appointments get canceled, but most of them are not getting rescheduled. And so having the ability to pivot and send out some of these recall reminders, which have been turned off across the majority of our offices, is huge. And so we have a feature called fill-in messaging that has not only been one of our most utilized features in our program, but we anticipate over the next couple of weeks, as things start to change, our most utilized feature in our system. So being able to effectively send out that blast, plug patients in to their appropriate time frames in the schedule that are open, based on their history is huge. So we're anticipating that's going to be our most utilized feature here in the next couple of weeks.
So when offices are getting ready to reopen, that they should start utilizing that feature to, I mean, my hope, my hope is that we open in a few weeks. I'm not so sure about that though, but there's going to be a great need for patients to get in. So how much before we anticipate opening should they be using a feature like that?
Yeah, so we can look as far into the future as the practice wants. Since it is typically something that's short notice, we recommend a few weeks ahead of time. But again, it can be used now.
Okay. So what are some of the, there's a lot of, I guess, competition in your space, and we talk about that all the time. And you've got competitors, RevenueWell, Demand Force, Solution Reach, Legwork, Medenta. There's so many to name, all various price points, all various services. And they all do fairly the similar things. They all have recare reminders. They do confirmations. They do, reviews. They have all various gamut of features here. If you had to kind of pinpoint a couple of things that, make your software stand out from the others for those that don't use, Lighthouse and use one of the other competitors, and saying, okay, why, if I'm listening to, Jimmy on this live and then a podcast, why should I consider switching over to Lighthouse? And just understand this, as I'll state this, people are very passionate about the software they use. And I go into all these different forums, and there's an office manager forum I'm part of, and people go nuts about what they use. So what would you say is some of the features that would be very, very, very beneficial to somebody if they switch over to Lighthouse?
Yeah, no, thanks, Len. Well, what I will say is, first and foremost, the fact that they're using something is great, especially during a time like this. Like, you need to have something. Something is better than nothing. Like, some of the offices that don't have a platform like this, I don't know what they're doing to reach out to their patients. I mean,
calling every one of them.
Oh my gosh. I spoke to a doctor a few weeks ago, and he ended up moving forward with Lighthouse, but he didn't have anything. And he told me he's never called patients. He didn't realize how daunting it was for his team until they're not working and he had to do it. And he's like, it took me 2.5 hours a day to confirm 25 appointments. And so, like, first and foremost, having something is better than nothing. But something that really does separate us is how we extract information from the management platform. So a lot of these other systems look at the continuing care in the respective software, such as Dentrix or EagleSoft or PracticeWorks. And as a dentist, all that continuing care might not be as up to date as it should be.
Definitely not.
And so one of the big separators is how Lighthouse extracts recall. So we look at the ledger and history of the patients and then cross-reference that with continuing care. So by doing so, it's much more accurate, and especially as things start to open, and especially as those unscheduled and canceled appointment lists get longer and longer, having the accuracy that Lighthouse does from the management platform is crucial. And so it's something that isn't as, how can I say, sexy as some of the other features, but it's something that is crucial to the operation perspective of the software. And so that is the biggest difference, along with some other features we have, such as fill-in messaging, where we're auto-detecting, finding, and filling cancellations. And then we also have a patient form option. So a lot of the other systems offer what are called like links or hyperlinks to new patient forms. And so some call them smart forms and things like that. What Lighthouse has is a process to text out new patient paperwork, and it's a very friendly user experience for the patient themselves, because it's not in a PDF format. it's in a step-by-step text message format. And so that auto populates and integrates with Dentrix. So it'll auto write back into the family file. There's no more manual data entry. It saves to the documents center very simply. There's no more scanning documents in. So it saves a ton of time for the practices, and it's just a better user experience all around for the patient. So patient fast track, fill in messaging, and our ability to detect the difference for recall appointments via the ledger versus the continuing care.
Back to question about your forms. If someone has very customized forms, do you customize them for the practice as well? So you can take any form they have and make it yours, or you have a specific type of template you got to stick to?
So we do have somewhat of a template. The way that we develop these forms is from the ADA recommended forms, but then we also took a poll of about 100 to 150 of our live offices and looked at their forms. Now, these were various perio practices, pedo practices, GP. So it wasn't just one specialty. It was a various array of specialties. And then we compiled a templated form option for the practices. Now, we do have customability options, so we can customize these. There are some instances where we cannot add certain questions, but the majority of our clients have been very happy with our ability to customize those forms to their liking.
Yeah, I think that with COVID causing as much havoc as it's causing, and I've discussed this with a couple of people before, I think we're going to find that we change the way we do things in the office. And one of them is, I really want my new patients, and this is prior to COVID, filling out their forms ahead of time. Now I think it's going to be a requirement that every patient fills them out ahead of time before they walk in the door. And I think this is, one way that's going to make that very easy is just to text them a copy of the forms and they can fill them out, before they come in. And it's very easy to get them into your practice management software. Another feature, which, is that I don't think people are going to be sitting in the waiting room. I think they're going to want to stay in their cars. And then we can text them when their appointment's ready. We just say, okay, you're ready, come on in. So they're going to be sitting in their car until we're ready for the appointment. So I'm waiting for one of the companies to come out with like a COVID-19 product or something to deal with these changes we want to make in our practices to make it easier to communicate with our patients that way. So I'm sure somebody's going to come off of that and create something that way. I'm just waiting. There's going to be a company that does something like that to get with the times. So we have a question, so I'll ask it. What is the startup cost for a new client? So that was a question that somebody asked, and you can see here, what is the startup cost for a new client? So why don't you, I normally wait to that till the end, but someone asked it, I'll go ahead and ask it now.
Yeah, so it's real simple. It's $299 to start it up. The monthly is $329 a month. So $329 monthly to utilize all of our features. So that includes unlimited messaging and everything we offer, but the startup cost is $299 one-time fee, and then $329 monthly.
Okay. And then someone had sent me an email, interesting enough, and they wanted to know how is Lighthouse dealing with the COVID situation with current clients? What are they doing there?
So it's all on a case-by-case basis. So if there are customers that are needing assistance with billing, if they're turning everything off, as everyone knows, Lighthouse is month to month. So there's no long-term agreement with our platform. It's month to month. You can pause and then restart services as well. So that's not an issue. However, a lot of our customers still need communication. So while they might not be using it to its fullest capacity, they still need the ability to reach out to patients. And so for those clients, we've been assisting anywhere from giving them our monthly services at a discounted rate, such as like half off or 75% off for a month or two. However, those are all handled on a case-by-case basis. So
they should reach out to support for that then?
Yeah, and our support is fantastic. They're still working, so it's not like we cut our support during this time. And I can provide their information as well.
So yeah, so when we're done, just drop that information in the Facebook comments below, and then they will use that email to reach out to whoever you think they should. I think that's a great way to do that. The other question I had was, with all the features that are that you guys have, I know there's a lot of requests from people. Like, what is the most requested feature that you get that still isn't implemented that you wish that they would implement?
Yeah. So one of those is having an app on their phone. So we get that very frequently, and I can effectively say we are beta testing this. So I don't know how soon it's going to be out, but that is something that we're actively working on. But that is something that doctors and office managers alike have been very adamant about. So we are working on that, but that's probably the biggest request that we get from our clients.
And then on a different note, but similar topic, I mean, I like to give you with some lightning round questions here. What do you think are the we'll do the opposite side. What do you think are some of the complaints that you guys get? I mean, you hear a variety of things, but if you had to say, okay, these are what people complain about when it comes to the product, what do you hear from people?
Yeah, so one of the areas of improvement that Lighthouse has been working on is our ability to give very, very large group organizations the ease of blasting messaging out. So if they have 10 different brands or 20 different brands across their business or DSO or group practice, right now they have to do that 10, 20, 30 different times. So we're working on a customized email platform, not only for the groups though. This is going to be very beneficial for individual practices because it's going to open up a library of templates and information for them to utilize. So that is something that we're working on right now, but that's also a complaint that we get, that we don't have enough content for them to send out. But again, that's something that we are working on.
Okay. So what do you feel is the direction of your space? I mean, there are so many competitors. There's so many options. I mean, you hear it from everybody, like there's so many things to choose from. Mm-hmm. Like, where do you think the space is headed? I know it's survival of the fittest. I mean, I'm at the shows with you. It used to be that every company under the sun was exhibiting, and now when you go, there's so few that actually show up. So what do you think the future of your space is?
Yeah, so no, that's a great question. So I would say that the future of patient engagement and communication is the ability to have things have information at their fingertips. So an app is very important. Being able to remotely access all of this data and easily reach out to patients and engage with them at any given time without having to be in a physical place. So I think we're moving more and more and more in that direction. I will say there's a lot of consolidation that's been going on across the industry, which I think you're well aware of. And so it's coming to a point where patient reminders and patient engagement is becoming a commodity. And so being able to separate yourself is crucial and important. But what everything stems back to for current and potential clients is integration. So when you're deciding what software to use and what to implement, integration is key. And having a service that's been around and weathered some of these storms and changes throughout the years is crucial, because Lighthouse has been there and will be there in the future. And so our process gets stronger and stronger and stronger. But to answer your question, I mean, it's becoming more and more remote. And so being able to pivot and have a easily accessible system that can be handled remotely is very important.
Yeah, and I agree with everything you said there. I think that the COVID situation, I think, has, in my mind, if you don't have one of these systems, I think you're crazy now, because I think that this whole situation has proven that you need a product to be able to communicate with your patients one way or another. And if you don't have something, to have to do everything manually and call everybody or reach out is such a chore. I was talking to a dentist, and she furloughed her team because she had too many team members and wasn't bringing any income in. And she personally was calling all her patients to let them know that she wasn't working. And I think and she was answering her phone as well. And I just think that is just because she was forwarding all her phone calls to herself.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, that's fine if you want to do that, but that's not something I want to spend my day doing. So I think every dentist will realize after this whole fiasco that they need a product like Lighthouse or any of these other communication products that are out there to just help run the front desk. I think it really replaces a person at the front. And I think that this really proves that after seeing what we've been through. Has there been any talk at any point about doing anything with virtual dentistry through Lighthouse? Has that come up at all during this process?
So we've been in very elementary stages of exploring it. Virtual and teledentistry have been topics of discussion. We don't have anything right now to roll out with that, but that is something that I truly see this industry growing into as well. And I think that that's going to be a piece to this puzzle. But yeah, I mean, we're talking about it, and I think it's something that we need to deeply explore.
And then what about anything doing with your any type of phone system or any type of way to interact or sync up with any type of phones? That seems to be a very popular request now as well.
It sure is. And we have had some like IP phone carriers we've been looking into. We've also been exploring building it ourselves and having a proprietary system as well, because that is a common request that we get. And right now there's a couple companies that we do recommend. So hopefully we can ink a deal with somebody. But I mean, that is something that we don't have today, but we're exploring both avenues, whether to have it proprietary or whether to sync up and partner with an existing service.
I'm sure Henry Schein is looking to do something there too. They're looking to either acquire somebody or something. Their head's spinning and trying to figure something out. So I'm sure something's not too far behind there.
Yeah, no, and this was far before COVID that we've been.
Yeah, I'm sure it's something on their list of things to maintain their level within the industry, because other companies are doing it and they always want to watch it. So, so what's the best way that if people have interest in seeing a demo, if they have interest in learning more about Lighthouse, because I'm assuming you're still doing demos being remote, because I'm sure you're not going to turn a request down to do a demo right now. So what's the best way for them to reach out to you? Should they email you? Should they text you? How do you want them to reach out to you?
Yeah. So if it's okay with you, I want to put my contact information in the chat here so that everyone has it. But an email, a call, or a text, I'm going to put my personal cell phone down, as well as my email address. And then we can sync up with a, appropriate 15-minute window that they have where I can run them through a presentation. Everything can be done remotely. It's super simple. And believe it or not, our installs now, I mean, we've seen an uptick in installations with people we can get a hold of because people are looking to get this set up sooner rather than later. And we can have Lighthouse up and running in a matter of 2 to 5 days.
Do you want to, because this is also going to be podcasted out, so they're not going to be able to see comments. Do you want to just give your email so people can hear it?
Yes, thank you. So my email address is James, so JAMES .Marciano, MARCIANO @Lighthouse PMG. So P as in Paul, M as in Mary, G as in George.com. And my phone number, cell phone number is 520-249-9738. You can text or call me there as well.
And I always give the guests who do this with me some final parting words. So do you have anything you want to state to the listeners, the viewers?
Yeah. So right now we are offering some COVID incentives as well. So I'd be more than happy to offer those to you, but we are helping from a financial aspect because I know this has been very difficult. And just like you were looking to generate business, if you're going to help us out, we want to help you out. So please don't hesitate to reach out with any questions. But other than that, I mean, if you take anything away from this podcast, I know it's very informational, but if you don't work with Lighthouse, that's okay. Work with a communication platform. Like Len said, there's a ton out there. There's a lot that would love your business, but this just makes things so much easier for you. And it's going to save you hours and hours a day, especially as dentists. You all are picking up, and office managers, you're picking up the slack and a lot of this workload that historically was passed along to some of your team members that, may not be there right now.
Yeah, and I think that the moral of the story here is that, Lighthouse is a great service, but you need a service, and you need something to help automate the process of confirming appointments, recap reminders, treatment plan follow-ups. You need something that will help take the brunt off your person at the front desk before COVID, but certainly after COVID. And I think that's the moral of why I wanted to bring Jimmy on, just to kind of give an overview of the space. But, I'm a fan of Lighthouse. I like the product, and I wanted just to bring him on. And plus, he's a friend of mine, so that's why we hang out at trade shows. We go to sporting events together. So I wanted to bring him on and have him go over his product, but his space as well. Thank you for joining me for the past half hour or so. I appreciate it. Stay safe in Austin. Hopefully, they'll open up the travel that we have, although most of the stuff's canceled now. I mean, I'm canceled. I just had an event in July canceled. So I don't know when the next time I'm going to be traveling. So when is your next event as of right now? Do you know?
I mean, everything's up in the air. Everything in May has been, postponed or canceled. June 1, I think there's like 1 or 2 meetings that are still 50-50 right now. But
I think June's going to be done too. So I don't think anything in June's happening. But we shall see. Keep in touch. Thanks for joining me today. And tomorrow's event is a special guest because he is not well known in dentistry. But if you want something fun, join tomorrow. It's with Jan Gilbert, who is the designer of Local Falcon, which is a great way to analyze your local search. He's going to be talking about how to rank higher in the Google 3-pack. So it's an interesting, he created a product to help analyze how you're looking. So please join us tomorrow with Jan Gilbert from Sterling Sky SEO and Local Falcon. Jimmy, thanks for joining me today. And till tomorrow, guys, thanks for joining me on the Raving Patients videocast. Have a great day.
Thank you, Len. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Take care, everybody.